Hello and welcome to this lesson on finding the surface area of a cuboid. In short, to find the surface area of a cuboid, we need to find the area of each face of the cuboid and then add these all up, and this will give us the surface area of the cuboid. As a quick recap, we know that a cuboid is a box shape which is made up of three different pairs of rectangles. And what I mean by pairs of rectangles is that if we look at this cuboid, we can see that the rectangle found on the front of the cuboid here is the exact same rectangle that is found at the back of the cuboid. These two rectangles have the same side lengths, thus they will have the same area. Similarly, we have that the rectangle found on the right of the cuboid is the same as the rectangle found on the left of the cuboid. They both have the same area and side lengths. And finally, the area of the rectangle found on the top of the cuboid is just the same as the area found on the rectangle of the bottom of the cuboid. They both have the same side lengths. Okay, so let's start by finding the area of the face at the front of the cuboid. This rectangle here. Well, this rectangle has one side length of 12 centimeters and another side length of 10 centimeters, which is the height of the cuboid, thus giving us an area of 12 centimeters times by 10 centimeters, which is 120 centimeters squared. As pointed out before, the area of the rectangle found at the back of the cuboid is just going to be the same area as the rectangle found at the front of the cuboid. So we know that the area of this rectangle here at the back is just 120 centimeters squared, the same area as the rectangle found at the front of the cuboid. Okay, so now let's address the area of the rectangle found on the left of the cuboid. This rectangle has one side length of 10 centimeters, which is just the height of the cuboid, and another side length of 4 centimeters, which is just the depth of the cuboid. So the area of this rectangle on the left is 10 centimeters multiplied by 4 centimeters, which is 40 centimeters squared. And again, the area of this rectangle is going to be the exact same area as the rectangle found on the right hand side of the cuboid, because this rectangle has the exact same side lengths. So the area of the rectangle found on the right hand side of the cuboid is just 40 centimeters squared. Okay, so now let's address the rectangle found at the top of the cuboid, which is here. This rectangle has one side length of 4 centimeters, which is the depth of the cuboid, and another side length of 12 centimeters. So this rectangle has an area of 12 centimeters times by 4 centimeters, which is equal to 48 centimeters squared. And again, just like before, the area of the rectangle found at the bottom of the cuboid is just going to be the same area as the rectangle found at the top of the cuboid. They are a pair of rectangles. Okay, so all we need to do now is add up all of these areas of the faces of this cuboid, and we will get the surface area of the cuboid. I have already done this. And as we can see, we have 120 centimeters for the front, 120 centimeters for the back, 40 for the left-hand side, 40 for the right-hand side, 48 for the top, 48 for the bottom, and adding all of these up yields a surface area of 416 centimeters squared for this cuboid. In our second example, we're asked to find the surface area of this cuboid here. Again, it's a box shape made up of three different pairs of rectangles. Okay, so let's solve for the area of this rectangle found on the front of the cuboid. we have one side length of 10 centimeters and another side length of 5 centimeters. So timesing these together, we get 10 centimeters times by 5 centimeters, and this is equal to 50 centimeters squared for the rectangle found at the front of the cuboid. We know that the rectangle found at the back of the cuboid is just going to have the same area as the rectangle found at the front of the cuboid. So this is again 50 centimeters squared. Okay, so let's address the area of the rectangle found at the left of the cuboid. We have one side length being 5 centimeters and the other side length being 2 centimeters from here, the depth of the cuboid. So timesing these two lengths together to get the area of the rectangle, we get 5 centimeters times 2 centimeters, which is equal to 10 centimeters squared. Again, the area of the rectangle found at the right hand side of the cube is just going to be the same as the area found at the left hand side of the cuboid. So this is going to be 10 centimeters squared for the area of the rectangle found at the right hand side of the cuboid. Okay, so let's address the area of the rectangle found at the top of the cuboid. We have one side length being 10 centimeters and the other side length being 2 centimeters. Thus, timesing these together, we get 10 centimeters times 2 centimeters, and that is equal to 20 centimeters squared. Again, the rectangle found at the bottom of the cuboid is going to be the same area as the rectangle found at the top of the cuboid. So that is again going to be 20 centimeters squared for the rectangle found at the bottom of the cuboid. Okay, so all we need to do now to find the surface area of this cuboid is just to add all of these areas up for the different faces of this cuboid. And if we do this, we find that we get 160 centimeters squared for the surface area of this cuboid. So we have these 50 centimeters squared here, both of them from the front and the back, these two 10 centimeters squared here from the left and right of the cuboid, and these two 20 centimeters squared here from the rectangles found on the top and the bottom of the cuboid. Thank you for watching.